listeners, Harika here, and I'm super excited to welcome you to UppTalk. If you're ready to learn and get your hands work wonders in the world of information technology, then you're in the right place. When I say UppTalk, we are not just another edtech company. Consider we are your learning partner committed to unlocking your full potential. Whether you're stepping into the world of technology for the first time or looking to advance your career, we provide top-tier, hands-on courses to build up your career. Let's take our first step towards learning here and explore it.
As I told you, we will go in detail with these two tools, Information Design Tool and Web Intelligence. Web Intelligence is a reporting tool. Information Design Tool is like a schema designing. It is like a designing tool. The name itself says like it's a design. We will design our objects which we required for reporting in Information Design Tool. Why I am starting with this is that you can have a fair understanding of databases. What process goes in between handling and designing these schemas which we use for reporting purpose. If we directly jump to reporting, we will not know how we are getting objects like the dimensions, key figures. Where are we getting them? What are the background processes? Happens there. We don't know. For that purpose, what I'm trying to do is I'll start with Information Design Tool. We will work on. I'll tell you all the options in the tool. We will see how it is to create a universe using some tables, by using importing tables and by creating some joins. And what is the data warehouse terminology you will be understanding using this tool. You might not require to create a universe all the time in the project because all the current projects, are all the reports we create based on the old universes only mostly. Sometimes we might need to add some objects or do some modifications, but that's it. But we will not create a universe from scratch in the real-time projects because already the projects which are running are mostly will be used in the old universes which are created. We are supporting that only, but it will be useful for your understanding point of view. You don't worry if you feel like it is too complex and all. You don't need to worry because we will focus more on our reporting in Web Intelligence, which will help. If you are perfect with the report creation in Web Intelligence, you can create any visualization with other tools also because the basic concept is same. By understanding the dimensions and key figures, understanding how we can include that in the report, how we can format and all. If we know that reporting in Webby, it is easy to switch to other visualization tools in future also, like Tableau or Sexy, whatever it is. They have more options and those are very user-friendly compared to Webby. If you know how to create a report in Web Intelligence, you can easily switch to other visualization tool based on the requirement in future. For that also to have some background understanding, we are going with Information Design Tool, how to create universe and all, but you should not be worrying like it is complex, I'm not able to understand. You don't need to worry much because it is for our understanding purpose only. I am telling you we will not create universe from scratch in the projects. I'm working for around 10 years. It is hardly we created a universe from scratch. We always do some enhancements, some modifications, only for the existing universes. In that case, we will go ahead and please don't worry if you feel it is little complex. Also, you don't need to worry. It is for our basic understanding point of view. I am teaching this. As part of Information Design to IDT, these are the topics that we will cover, like what is the introduction to IDT and what is a project, what is the connection. As I told you earlier, There are some predefined steps to create a universe in IDT. Like, first we will create a project, later we will create a connection, then data foundation, then business layer, then we will check for the security and then we'll convert that. If there are any old universes and bunks is nothing, but we are currently using information design tool. It is a newer version. We also have other tool like a universe design tool. It is also more or less similar, but the user interface is a little bit different. But other than that, the purpose is same. IDT is a newer version of universe design tool. If you create any universe in the universe design tool, which is older version, that will be saved as own file. Now, if you want to use or enhance that in information design tool, we need to. Information design tool creates a reports and saves in that form of funks. If you want to use the older versions of universes which are created by using UDT, you can import them using IDT and you can convert them to the newer version. That is the difference between UMP and DUNKs. That means UMP is a universe created using universe design tool, which is the older version of tool. UNKs is a universe created using information design tool, which is a newer version. In 4.1 words, we are getting that IDT. Even still till now, in these projects, what we say, like even projects in these days also, there are projects which use the universe design tool also. There is nothing to worry. The concept is more or less similar. The user interface and the steps might differ, but the main concept is same in both the tools. We will go ahead with the IDT. Here is the definition of information design tool. Information design tool is SAP BusinessObjects metadata design environment. As I told you already, it is for designing metadata that enables a designer to extracting tables, defining them like. We will give proper definitions for objects and all, and manipulate metadata from relational and OLAP sources. Manipulate metadata means we can write some formulas here. We don't need to directly use the objects coming from database itself. Sometimes we need to enhance them, or sometimes we need to perform some complex calculations, which we generally do in Excel. Those kinds of calculations or formulas variables we will create. That is nothing but manipulating metadata from relational and OLAP sources to create and deploy SAP's business objects, universes. We will create universes using this information design tool and we will deploy it to a repository that we can consume this universe as a source for our web intelligence or dashboards, any kind of reporting. Most of the SAP reporting tools use universe as a data source. That is about information design tool. Here it comes. Who uses the information design tool? As I told you already, it can be used by a database administrator. He can use it for his security purpose. Administrator, what they do, they will create some users and they will create some security like which user is eligible to access for which universe, which report. That can be done in the IDT level itself. A database administrator can access this, or application manager, or a developer like us, or a project manager, or a report creator, as you are going to create reports in future. Even you might need to have a basic understanding of IDT, that it's not like I'll stick to only this tool and I'll not understand anything. Background means that is no use to have that background knowledge. Also, it is better to have enough technical skills to create universes for other users. You don't need to create an entire universe from the scratch, but you should know like what is happening there, how we are joining, or how we are creating objects and all. These universes which we create using IDT can be consumed by these reporting tools like interactive analysis is nothing but a launchpad or web intelligence crystal reports. Business Objects Explorer, Business Objects Dashboard Design. These all tools can consume Universe as a source and they will create a report for end users. We have to familiar with these terms in the information design tool. Project, it is like a name local workspace. If you are creating something, first we need to create a project and inside that we will create whatever we are creating. That it will be like a folder name, main folder. That kind of thing will be there. First we need to create a project. It contains one or more resources that are used to share metadata to build the universe. Connection. Connection is very important here because whatever we want to create, we are importing some tables. Where are we importing these tables from? They are from any database, like it can be relational database like MySQL or Oracle or some other OLATIF databases like SAP BAV, BSCS, SAP BU and all. If the source is a BEX query, we can just create a BSCS connection here and we can directly consume that BEX query as a data source for our web intelligence. We don't need to create all of the data foundation business layer if the source is BX query. But if the source is what I kill or MySQL, that those databases stores information in form of tables. First, we need to have a connection to the database. We should give proper connection and proper drivers should be installed to access that connection and all. That is about connection. First, we will create a project inside that we will create a connection to relational or OLAP database and we will give the database name, data source name and all. Once the connection is established, that we can access the tables of the particular database which we are connected. After creating that connection, we will go to data foundation. Data foundation layer is nothing, but it is a scheme of tables like we will add whatever the tables required for our reporting purpose. Generally in our project, we will get a blueprint or a technical specification document kind of thing. There they will mention everything like what all the tables required, what are all the joins which we should like, how tables are related to each other, which joins we should put. Everything will be provided by an architect that are report developers. We can go ahead and create a universe based on that document that they will mention everything detailedly like. And these are the list of tables which we need for this universe. These are the joins and these are the objects we need. And sometimes the objects, formulas and all we might need to create ourselves or based on the other discussions with our team leader or our manager or architect, we will go ahead and create. Once we create a connection, we will create a data foundation. There, we will add the tables which are required and we will join based on the required logic and all. We will join the tables. If you see here, data foundation is a schema that defines the relevant tables and joins from one or more relational databases. As I told you earlier, it can be from single source. The data foundation can be a single source or multi-source. If we are combining data or tables from multiple sources, we will select the option of multi-source universe. If it is only from single source or like what I can, we will go ahead and select single source. After creating data foundation, we will go ahead and create a business layer. In business layer, as I told you earlier, like there will be classes and objects. Like product under product, product will be a class name. Under product, we will create a product name, product ID quantity. Those kinds of objects, key dimensions and key figures, we will create and we will write. We will map those objects to the required columns of the tables. That thing is done in business layer. If you see here, A business layer is a collection of metadata objects that provides an abstraction of relational database. And it is our old app cubes understandable by a business user. Here it is important why we create. Business layer is sometimes database. It will be stored by some data entry operators. They write something, they might name the columns as something that they understand, but it is not. We can say, like it is not always possible for the business to understand those names, which are defined by database level. In that layer, we should not confuse the business. We will use the business friendly terms here that when they are using for the reporting, they'll understand the way. Like that, it will be what we say business. User friendly here. The reports, they will understand it. It is not technical for them. They'll understand the report and they will use for their business decisions purpose. It should not be technical for the business people because they have much of work other than this technical thing. They have much of work to do in a business side. They will think in other perspectives. We should make the reports very clear for them. That is the purpose. We will create the objects as understandable by a business user. Query is like a set of objects that define a request to the database for data. If some user is asking like, what is the sales revenue for the region of Canada? And in 2021, quarter 3, if they ask like that, how can you say by using tables? We cannot say we cannot go and check like this much of query, we cannot write there. That purpose of thing, like if we create proper objects and proper data foundation, those purposes can be fulfilled. The query is the example of query, as I told you, like what is the sales revenue for 2021 Q3 for Canada region. We can just directly drag and drop some objects and we can show the report. Otherwise, what we can do is we can also write SQL. If it is a database side, we can write a SQL, that is a structured query language to select sales revenue from. If you know the table name, sales revenue from what we say from the sales table where region equal to this and year equal to this, quarter equal to this, we can do that. But to write an SQL, it should be a technical person only can do that. But why we are creating these things is that business user, end user can also analyze, that can also create the reports without having any understanding of SQL. They will directly drag and drop the objects and they'll get the required output, what they want. In the backend. If we just drag also in the backend is what business objects do, is there will be SQL generated in the backend. But that complexity is not required for the end user. For that purpose, only this tool is designed. Parameters. A parameter is a variable in the business layer that require a value at query type. It is like a prompt we can put, like a parameter for select year. It can be a parameter. Whenever we refresh a report, it will ask for us to select which year to run the report. We can give the year which we want 2021, 2020 to 2020, and we can run the report. That is a parameter. It is like a variable which we create in the business layer. List of values. A list of values is a collection of data values that can be associated with an object in the universe, allowing the user to choose values for a prompt. List of values is like if you say we might create a year prompt in the reporting layer and some users might what we say, they do not know how to enter or how it is set up. What they can do is, instead of entering, they can select from the given list of values. That is possible if we have a list of values from the universe side. If we attach some list of values Like if for a year, if we attach some 20 to 30 years where the reporting is possible around from 2000 to 2030, if we pass those list of values along with that object in the reporting layer, when they refresh everything I'll show in the screen also. I'm just telling here to understand. That is possible using list of values. Universe you already know, like everything what we create, the final output is a universe. Here, once it is perfect without any errors, we will export or we will publish that to repository to consume for our reporting purpose. A session contains a CMS system name authentication information needed to access resources stored in a repository. We have to create a session. We have to connect to a session using our credential that we will create some resources and we can access the resources in the repository. This is the workflow of IDT. First, we will create a project. Later, we will create a connection inside that connection to database, whether it is Oracle or MySQL or SAP, HANA, anything. After that, after establishing a connection to database, we will create a data foundation where we will include the tables and joins. After that, we will create a business layer where we will have that folder structure of dimensions and key figures. Once everything is ready, then it is a time for our universe to publish to repository. This is the workflow that we follow in IDT. Here, before going to the tool itself, I have some screenshots that you can just see, like what is the menu bar, what is the workspace and all. If you see here, this is the menu bar. Here we have a file option, edit window, help some other options like checking integrity and all. It is for security editor and all. This is called a menu bar. And here this is a local project window. Or whenever we are creating any local projects we are creating from the scratch, it will be saved here. Then after everything is ready, we can send that to our repository. Then it will be saved in the repository view. This is the workspace where we include the tables, make the joins, and all. This is the menu bar. This is a local project window. This is the repository view. This is the workspace, and it is a status bar. It will show like whether it is loading, whether connection is loading, or whether data foundation layer is loading everything. It is like a status bar. Local project, the first step in creating rules resources in the information design tool. First step, what we do is to create a local project. We create and edit all resources in a local project except secured connections and security profiles. We will create a local project and we can edit anything there. There are several ways. We can populate local project with resources, a new project, and here we can do like that. Or we can just click on new and new project. We can go like that also. One of the operations you do on local resource include if we just need to click on the connection, then you can publish that connection to a repository. If the already connection is made, you can just click on this connection and we can publish to repository. We can show dependent resources like what are all dependent with each other. We can see that we can publish business layer as a universe to the local file system or repository. We can check the integrity of data foundation and business layer. Everything we can do by clicking into the local project and by going to particular resource. Click and do the action. Share projects. Previously we seen local project which is for individual thing. Shared project is like in a project. If you have a If in your project there are 2 or 3 designers, then what you can do is you can create that project as a shared project, that once you complete something and if someone else wanted to add or enhance that, they can directly go to that same access, the shared project, and they can enhance or they can do the remaining work. To keep that in synchronization, we have these options like this is the general workflow that we need to follow. We have to, from the project synchronization, view in a selected shared project log the resources you want to work on. Whenever you want to work on, first you need to log the resources that other users cannot edit or change at the same time. Once you log and you do all your work, and then you can release that once you have made your changes in the project synchronization view. Synchronize the project to save your changes on the server that you can synchronize that. It will be saved in the server level. Then you can unlock the resources. Then the designer too can. Maybe you are on leave or you've done your work and some other need to do some other work in that thing. If you split the work, then they can do the remaining part by following the same procedure using the synchronization option. First, after creating a project, we have covered the project. Now local project and shared project. Then what we create is a connection. A connection is a named set of parameters that define how one or more SAP BOBJ application can access relational or OLAP database. It is like how we are going to access, whether it is a local connection or secure connection. If you want to publish your universe to repository, you always should have a secure connection. It is always recommended to create a connection in local. If you are thinking of publishing the universe to repository and consuming it for web intelligence, you definitely need to publish it to a repository. That connection. What we can do is click and we can publish to that secure connection that local connections and connection shortcuts are used for the following purposes. To access these things we can use for. See here, this is the connection tab. Like once you click on new connection here, it comes like what is the resource name you want to put, the connection name, what connection name you want to put. After keeping the connection name, it will ask for the database middleware driver selection on which database you are going to connect to, whether it is IBM database, whether it is generic database, or we also have Oracle database or MySQL. If you want to create to MS Access database, then we have to go to Microsoft and underneath we have to select which data source we are going to connect that those particular drivers will be installed on our system and we can access. Here we have shown like generic ODB C drivers. We will give the username password which we are given by our network people. Once we have the access, they will share what data source need to be selected, what is the username and what is the password. Based on that, we will give the username password and we will select the data source name as a fashion. A fashion is like a demo database. It is for training purpose. We always use a fashion database. It contains multiple tables and everyone now who is mostly anyone who is starting to learn web intelligence or be more reporting, they'll go and use this fashion which is specifically designed for training purpose. We will connect and we'll say the test connection. If the details are correct and if the server is responding, then it is say like the connection is successful. Then we will go to the finish screen. That connection will be created. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@upptalk.com.